Why did you always tell your mom you wanted to be like Kobe?
It was just something about him. You know, from the first time I saw him play, watching him on TV, you know, I just fell in love with him and his game. The way he moved and, you know, the things that he did on the court. It was like art to me, you know, like he played basketball different than everybody else. And I could tell that, and I was like, that's who I want to be like.
How did it resonate with you, him talking about putting all his eggs in one basket?
I felt like he was talking to me when he said that, because there was no other option. You know, there was nothing else I wanted to do in life. Like, you know, everybody talked about having a backup plan. Like, it never made sense to me, because it's like, why would I have a backup plan? Because I'm gonna make this work. If you got a backup plan, then you're not putting all your time and energy on what you want to accomplish. So if you're not putting all your focus on that one thing, how can you expect to be successful?
What would you study about him?
His footwork, right? That's what made him, that's what separated him from everyone else. And you got to be a little crazy to be as good as he was. And like, I remember him talking about, like, he may not have been the best friend or the best cousin or brother, because he was always in the gym working out. And so you have to be okay with sacrifice and things like that, and everybody isn't.
His then ESPN show, Detail, comes out when you're playing the Cavs in the conference finals, and a segment's done on you. How does that affect you?
It was after game one, so we had practice, and I come to my locker, and I got all these text messages and alerts on my phone. And I remember I sat there, and I was kind of like, I didn't open it at first, because I was nervous, right? Because I'm like, damn, Kobe know who I am? Like, things like that. Kobe could have said anything about me, and I would have been like ecstatic, just because he was speaking about me. Like, that the person that I grew up idolizing knows who I am. I'm from St. Louis, and Kobe knows who I am. It's like, that's not normal. But I remember sitting there for like, I could have watched it 15 times probably, because I was just in shock. I couldn't believe it. And then I had a text message from him. He was like, hey, what's up, this is Kobe. You know, he said something like, rooting for you, you know, keep up the good work. When you're in the summertime, when you're in LA, reach out, we can get in the gym. And I was like, somebody gotta be with me. Like, this can't be real. You know, life just comes full circle.
When do you decide to text him? And take me from the point of in the car driving to the gym onwards.
The first time I went to LA, I texted him as soon as the wheels touched the ground. So I went to his office, and I met with him like twice. And I remember sitting there, his assistant was like, he'll be up there shortly. And I remember like sitting on my hands, because my hands were so wet. I was like, damn, he about to come up here. And I remember I shook his hand, and my hands were still wet. And I just like, he probably thinking like, damn, why is his hands wet? But we talked for a long time, and he walked me around. We talked about the season, things I want to work on. And then we worked out one time in LA. And that was top 3 best days of my life.
Really?
Easily.
What about it made it that way?
From the standpoint of the person that made me fall in love with basketball, that I grew up idolizing, wanting to be just like, now I'm in the gym with him and he's trying to help me out. It's like, how did I get here? It was like, it just gave me chills.
How did you find out about his death?
I was in New Orleans. It was a 3-game, 7-day trip. So I still went on the trip to rehab and get ready, but I didn't play. I never forget, we walked to Popeyes, because it was 5 minutes from the hotel. And we grab our food and we sit down, and my phone just started blowing up. And I looked, and somebody was like, Kobe passed away, ? And then I look, I'm like, what? I'm like, Dad, Kobe passed. And he was like, Kobe Bryant? So then I looked on Twitter, I'm like, no, they gotta be joking. And I remember they had the news on in Popeyes, and it was like breaking news. You know, Kobe Bryant's passed in a helicopter crash. And I was like, I didn't know how to feel, because it didn't seem real, because in my mind, he was a superhero.
Right.
So in my mind, Kobe was invincible. I was like, wait, like I literally was like, Kobe can't die. Like that's just, I couldn't, it didn't register. And I remember I got back, we walked back to the hotel, and I was just like in shock. And I go back to the room and I turned CNN on, and you know, there it was. I sat in the bathroom, I just broke down. I couldn't believe it.
How did you handle it in the days that followed?
It was tough. I remember, we had a game that day, and they still played. And I remember I sat in the locker room during the game. I couldn't even watch the game because I was just like, I was up.
What do you think his legacy is?
How he inspired people. And I think that's what everybody aims to do, right? Everybody can accomplish things, but did you impact people? Did you inspire the world? And I think he did. Everybody in the world was inspired